This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678 402 8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT at farmersagent.com, and tell them Harley sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harley G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/inside the bubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harley G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harley G. Welcome, insiders, to Inside the Bubble with Harley G. Today, Harley G, have part 2 of the duo. If you guys listened to the previous episode with Miss Jaquise, we have Aquanetta today, who previously was on the podcast talking with her sister about her journey growing up church. So if you have not caught that episode, go back and listen to that episode first, because y'all, it is amazing, okay? And then come back and listen to these 2 other episodes. But we are here today to talk to Miss Aquanetta, my coworker, y'all, that be keeping me 100. When I tell y'all, she's like Harley. She be hemming me up, taking me behind the woodshed all the time.
Don't listen
like
to Harley.
all the time. I'm like, I'm in trouble.
Don't listen to Harley.
She called me. I see her number. It's like a bill collector. Like when you see her number, you're like, shucks. What did I do now?
I can't say this.
Anyway.
I cannot.
Just, but you have to have that. You really have to have it. It's all in love. And absolutely. I appreciate that. So I might joke about it, but I would not have it any other way.
Thank you.
But, so we talked to Jaquise, and we talked to Jaquise about her health journey, and, just how, as it continues to evolve and everything that she goes through and how she shows up for herself. And she did, she gave you a shout out. She loved me a little bit. A little bit. Okay. Just a little bit.
I love her a little bit too.
Anyway. And, but I want to hear from you, because you are, in essence, almost kind of like her primary caretaker. And I want to talk today about, what does that mean for you? It's a lot. I can see how it's a lot on her, and having to, deal with people always kind of like, she was talking about how she went to the bathroom. It took a little bit longer. People thought she passed out. And she's like, I am just in here trying to take a poop. Trying to live my best poop life. Okay? So,
yeah.
But, unfortunately, because of circumstances, people have a way of just being alert, when it comes to her and her health. But you are living with her. You are kind of like in the trenches with her. And she also mentioned that in a lot of those instances, when those situations have happened, you're the one who has been there. So there might be a little bit of like PTSD there, right? Because you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to that moment, or I'm going back to that situation. So I want to talk to you about, when you first found out that she was having these health issues, she found out about it. What was going through your mind?
I can honestly say when I first found out, I wasn't really, I was calm. I was a lot calmer back when it first started happening than I am now. Just because I always knew, I'm like, oh, it's going to work out. You know, my family is a very faith-driven family. I'm a very faith-driven person. So I was kind of like super deep, you know, like, oh, the Lord has already healed it. Like, I mean, it was, it was done. Everything is good. Like, so for me, I was good. It's in the latter season of my life that it has been more challenging. And I will say it's been more challenging for me, not just for my sister's health, but I've actually been the healthcare taker or I can't talk today. Healthcare provider for a few of my family members. So it actually started before Jaquise.
Okay.
So before Jaquise, my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. So of course, you know, we had family that was helping take care of him. However, I was the primary person who was driving him to his chemo treatments. I would leave my job. I worked in healthcare. So I would leave my job during my lunch break, go sit with my grandfather to make sure he was good, you know, watch everything. Okay, are they hooking up the IV right? You know, all of those kinds of things, just because sometimes, you know, when you're working healthcare, I understand you're working 14 hours, 16 hours, you're exhausted. So innocent mistakes happen. So it's just me kind of like making sure everything was good. Then after my grandfather, I took care of my aunt, who I believe Jaquise may have talked about her. She actually passed away from cancer. So we lived like 3 hours away from the cancer center. So I was working Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, working like 14, 16-hour days. And then I was driving my aunt to chemo on the days that I was off to Atlanta. So we live in a small town called Sardis, Georgia. So yeah, it's like 3 hours away. So we would come to Emory. So I would bring her to Atlanta for treatments. And I would sit with her. We would have conversations. So I took care of her. And also, actually, before my grandfather, my mom's mom, she had cancer as well. So I was in 8th grade, and I was her primary care provider as well. So I would fix dinner for her. I would fix her lunch and, you know, run all her errands because, you know, my grandmother wasn't working. So, of course, my parents had to work because the bills had to get paid, right? So it's like, okay, but that's when that's kind of like when I knew, like, oh, man, like healthcare, taking care of people, it's not something just I did because of my family, because I love my family, but I love taking care and helping people, period. Like, I sometimes to a fault sacrifice my own health and my own well-being because I take care of other people. So I will say, like, it has affected me in the sense of sometimes I neglect myself because it's more important to me to focus on other people than it is myself. Well, I know that's not good. It's honestly like my love language to give is really acts of service. You know, that's just kind of who I am, what I like to do. So that's kind of like been my journey with the whole health thing because I've always done it.
So do you think that that's the reason why you wanted to go into health care initially?
Well, no. So, I mean, initially when I first, like 4th, 5th grade, I was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be a doctor. First, I thought I wanted to be an OBGYN. I wanted to deliver babies and all that good stuff. But I will say, seeing my family go through cancer so much, that kind of changed in my sophomore year of college, going into my junior year. I worked full-time for a doctor who was he was a general surgeon specializing in oncology. And that's when it changed for me. It shifted. And that's when kind of like I was dealing with a lot of the cancer things in my family. And I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do. I really want to go down the road of, okay, I'm going to be an oncologist. That's what I'm going to do. So that's kind of where but I always knew. Like, healthcare was kind of my thing. I was a science and math kind of girl. Like, it always interested.
The numbers.
I love the numbers. Let me tell you something. Not only numbers, I'm going to analyze every single thing you say, every move you make. But I feel like essentially that is what has helped me be very intuitive and sensitive to the things that were going on with my family. Because there are a lot of times, matter of fact, one example, I was with my aunt in the hospital and something just was not right. No, it wasn't my aunt, it was my mom. And I kept paying attention, and the doctors was like, oh, she's fine, oh, she's fine. I'm like, no, she's not. But I pay attention to all the signals in the doctor's office, and my mom's oxygen had actually dropped to like 65, which is dangerously low. And I'm attentive, so I analyze every single move, what the doctors do. So it just it has helped my awareness become even more sensitive. So that's kind of like analyzing. I like that, not just the numbers, but analyzing every single thing about a situation.
It's exhausting.
It is. Like, and if you think it's exhausting for people,
oh my
think
God.
about how it's exhausting for me mentally. I'm not even gonna lie, like, because it's like my mind never stops. Even when I'm asleep, it's going. It's thinking about, okay, I need to move like this. Okay, no, I probably need to do this for Jaquise, but for my grandfather, he needs this. But it's just something that I'm always like trying to calculate and figure out what I need to do for each situation.
That's probably why you can't go to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean,
Your mind doesn't shut down.
It doesn't. And so, like, I laugh because Jaquise is like, ma'am, I need you to calm down sometimes, because I know that even though I've been there, it can be overbearing for the person that I'm helping. So that is kind of the tug of war that I face sometimes with trying to balance not being too much, but being enough. So that is always a tug of war for me. It's really, really hard to, like, manage it all, because I know my sister, you know, since she's the person I'm primarily giving care for right now, she doesn't want to feel like an invalid or like it's the person that always needs help. And you know, but it's a challenge when you found your sister unresponsive like 4 or 5 times, and you've had to give CPR, you've had to call 911, and then you're you know, they can't fix the IV, so they're going in, and then you're kind of sneaking in the hospital room fixing that IV. So, you know, because you work in healthcare, so it's like, bro, I got this. And they're wondering, how did the bag start working? Oh, I don't know. You know, but it's just those situations, because I know her. I know her so well. I know her veins. They collapse, they roll, they tiny. I'm like, listen,
they do everything.
Man, so it's just like, I kind of know, you know what I mean? And I know I probably shouldn't be messing with the IVs, but it's like, look, she needs this medicine right now.
You the expert.
So it's like, yeah, let me look at the saline bag, make sure it's drip, drip, drip. Okay. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So, but I can't lie, like it's challenging to take care of me sometimes because of it.
Because you put yourself on the back burner.
I do. I absolutely
constantly.
I do. But the thing is, it's like, for me, I feel like, while I know that's not healthy, sometimes I don't like putting myself on I don't like making myself first, because I never want the people that I'm taking care of to feel like I'm having a selfish moment.
Wow. Okay, so, we are going to sit in this for a minute. So you really think, let's just say, after all these years of taking care of your sister, being there for her, going through these traumatic episodes with her, that if you got up tomorrow and you say, you know what, Jaquise, I'm going to the spa for the whole day, I'll see you when I get home, you think that she will think that you're selfish?
I don't necessarily think that she'll feel like I'm selfish, but it could be in that very moment where she needs me the most. So if I leave, that's a selfish act. So it's kind of like, man, you know, it's like...
So you're just going to go through life thinking that she's going to need you the most every single day, and you're never going to put yourself out there?
I'm not going to go through life doing that, because, a matter of fact, I actually took a day yesterday, and I took off
You did? You took a whole PTO day off.
I took a day. I did. I took a day. I got a pedicure, you know, I went in, you know, I got my hair washed, you know, I got waxed, make sure I was good, all of that good stuff, you know what I mean? But it's like, listen, at the end of the day, it's like, what I've realized about myself is I really do, like, I will do everything for everybody else first. And then it's like, hey, Aquanetta, you still got to take care of yourself. And I'm not saying that my sister will think I'm selfish, but the reality is there have been moments where I felt like she really needed me, and she has communicated to me, hey, I needed you in this moment. So do I think she thinks I'm overall selfish? Absolutely not. She doesn't think that about me at all. But it's in the moments where I feel like I missed something where she really needed it.
You let her down.
That causes me to like, nah, I can't take a break. I gotta be here all the time, because it's gonna be that one moment that I step out the door that something may happen, and then I could have prevented it if I was there.
Yeah, but you could have.
Huh?
You could. You very. That may very well be the situation.
Yeah.
But I think that everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And he's in control.
He is.
So maybe he did need you to step out.
Absolutely. No, and I agree with that, because she'll tell you, like, my sister will tell you, I'm a control freak. It's like, I admit that, as I don't like to say it, insiders, I don't. But the truth is, I really am a control freak, but it's because, and I say this with such humility, because Harli, you know me, there is not an arrogant bone in my body. But I am the most humble, but I can honestly say, 99.9% of the time when I say something, it's the truth. It really is the truth. Even when it came to healthcare, certain tests that I've asked them to do, I can feel it. I know when something is going to work.
Ladies, I know there's so much to do and not enough time in the day. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But what are you doing for yourself? Well, I've recently discovered Body Bar Pilates. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Body Bar Pilates will challenge all of your major muscle groups and provide you with a full body workout. Wow. Listen, I had to check it out. I took a class with Sherelle and it was amazing. They have workouts for all skill levels, whether you're just starting out or you're just looking for a new way to move your body. This is the community for you. Check out my friends at Body Bar Pilates East Cobb or give them a call at 678-941-4371. And don't forget to mention me, Harli G.
And so it's just like, it really bothers me. It's like, I need to be there so I can say, hey, ma, nah, I know the doctor telling you this, but on the back end, she really needs this. So it's just like, if I step away for a moment, it makes me feel like I let her down or anyone that I'm trying to take care of down. So it's like, that's a challenge for me, just really being able to step away. And then on the other hand, I will say this, like, because I'm so used to taking care of people, sometimes people don't really ask me if I'm okay. It's always, how's your sister doing? How's your aunt doing? Oh, how's your grandfather doing? And I'm like, he's great. And in those moments, I never want to feel selfish because it is about them. Because I mean, they're checking on them, and it's like, hey, this is a lot of weight on me. I handle it well because I'm gonna perform. One thing about me, regardless of what I'm going through,
She gonna be leading.
I'm going to perform. Like, that is just what I do.
Yeah. Leading. That's Aquanetta.
If I say I'm gonna make a cake, oh, my hand fell off. Look at that. If I say I'm gonna make a cake, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna show up. It's gonna be packaged right. That's just how I am. I'm gonna show up, and a lot of times you're never gonna know what all I'm really going through. And so it's just like, you know
It's
what I mean?
You know, I'm gonna ask you the same question. Do you want to get your hat? You don't have to.
Oh, you know what? No, it's okay. It's
Okay.
all right.
I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked you, your sister. I asked Jaquise. So, do you feel like there is a pressure to perform and show up and be all of these things to the people around you? You need to be Jaquise's caretaker. You needed to be your auntie's caretaker. You needed to be your grandfather's caretaker. There's got to be some pressure in that.
I will honestly say, like, for me, I do feel the pressure. And I feel the pressure because my family, we just always showed up. Regardless of what we were going through, like, we always showed up for everybody else, whether it was church. I'll never forget, my aunt passed away. We got on a flight. She passed away that Monday. Her service was that Saturday. I got on a flight to go out of the country and sing. It's just, that's what we do. It's like, and you never would have known she passed away because, I mean, even her daughter, she was on that same flight. We went, sang, and you would have never known that anything happened. So it's just like, my family has always shown up, and it's honestly, if I'm honest, it's not the healthiest thing, but it's like, we've always shown up, and because my family did it, it's like, girl, you your daddy child, you gotta show up, and you gotta nail it, even if on the inside you're being torn apart. It's like, nah, lights, camera, action, let's go. It's just kind of like Beyonce, you know, you'll never know if she's really hurting, because when she comes on that stage to perform, she's going to perform. And I do feel like that in my life, I kind of have that personality type. It's like, she's Beyonce, then there's Sasha Fierce. It's like, there's Aquanetta, then there's like superhero Aquanetta. It's like, superhero is the one that everybody predominantly sees. And Aquanetta at home, sometimes it's like, man, I'm really...
Let me go hang up my cape real quick.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't even know how to hang it up sometimes because it's difficult for me. It's challenging because I'm used to always being on, always showing up. And I'll give an example. Like, last night, my sister actually shared some information with me that was devastating. But in that moment where she was having her moment, I could not show my own emotion. I couldn't say, oh man, like, I'm a little worried, I'm a little nervous, like, we've been going through this for a while. Jesus, I've been praying. I thought you'd come on now. Like, how much more I gotta pray? How much more I gotta fast? What else I gotta do? You know, but in that moment, I have to be what I need to be for her. I can't be breaking down when she in here talking to me about her fear.
But
She's
why
scared.
not?
No, because I feel like then she's going to worry, which I understand. If she starts to worry about me, you know what happens? That's a stress on her, which prevents her from healing faster. Because stress, believe it or not, it prevents us from healing faster. So in those moments, I'm going to be selfless. It's like, no, she needs her moment. I need to talk to her. Me and Jesus we gonna cry and pray in the shower. Like it is what it is because I'm big.
Meet me in the shower.
I'm big
Jesus.
on hey no like I'll have my time, but in those moments, but I'm also vocal with her and I'll say hey now I am. I always wasn't, but I'll tell her now like hey this is tough. Like I hate seeing you go through this. I don't want you to go through this, but it's just like I'm okay. But essentially if I have something going on personally. I don't even know. I'm not going to say I don't know how because that's not a true statement. I don't really express what I'm going through, even if it's something physical, just because I'm like, she got her own stuff going on, so I'm going to be okay. I'm going to process it, internalize it. I'm going to read a book. All right, let me, okay, what would this person in? I got it. It's like I'm going to work through it.
So who do you lean on when you feel like everything is just falling apart? Like, one of the things that you mentioned was like, I don't really feel like people really ask me how am I doing because they're so focused on, Jaquise or your aunt or your grandfather as they're going through these health journeys. But who do you have a tendency to lean on when you're and do you?
I will say this, sometimes, I'm not going to lie on this podcast, I'm going to keep it 100% real. Sometimes I do. But I'll say I really do lean on my best friend LaShawna. In turn, it's like it's kind of like this love-hate situation, right? It's like I tell her every single thing that is going on, but then I actually feel guilty because it's like I feel like she's the person who gets it all, and I don't know how to necessarily show up for her because of everybody else that I've shown up for her in life, and it's not fair to her. But I can honestly say LaShawna is definitely that person who I can tell every single thing to, and it's just like, she's not going to judge me. And then she's going to check me. She's going to tell me like, Nat, I know, ma'am, I know you're taking care of everybody else, but I need you to go sit down somewhere, and I need you to go to the spa, and I need you to do this, and I need you to process how you're feeling because you can't take care of everybody else. It's not selfish to put you first. But she's gonna keep it real with me all the time. But I can honestly say, there have been moments where you ping me and you'll like, you all right? Or you'll text me and I'm like, I'm okay. You'll be like, Aquanetta. And I'm like, but I will say this, I'm not gonna lie, but you call me out on it too. You'll say like, I feel like you're telling me you're not okay, but you're not really telling me everything that's going on. And sometimes I don't because I don't want other people to put the weight on themselves. It's like, oh my God, it's like, no, it's okay. And then there are times where I'm like, you can still talk to me, even though you think I'm going through a lot, because it's good for me. I feel good being able to help people. My value isn't tied to that, but it's just something that I love to do. I love to help people. Yeah.
Yeah. Because and I think I mentioned this in the last podcast that you were on with your sister. The thing is, that same sense of pride, that same sense of support that you get from taking care of your sister, your family. Imagine somebody else having that sense of pride and support because they were there for you.
Right. And the crazy thing is, I genuinely desire that. Like, I tell my sister and my best friend all the time, like, man, I just want... I'm single, everybody. So it's been listen. So it's just like I want, like, in the person that I'm with, whoever it's gonna be, I'm like, I want that selfless type of like, you know what? I'm gonna go out of my way. I'm gonna make sure she's good, and I don't want to feel guilty about it. It's like I want them to genuinely want to do it and not throw it back at me. Like, it's just like, but can I really get that from other people without it coming back at me? And it's just like, I know that I can, but it's just like, I do, I want it. But it's just, it's challenging for me. And I will say this, it's because I've done it all my life. Like, since I was a child, like 6th grade until now, I'm 39. And It's just what I've always done. So because I've always done it, it's like it's just what I do. And I'll say this. I'm gonna give you an example. I actually had someone come to me. They meant absolutely well. They did. They were like, "So, how are you?" I took a chance, and I said, honestly, I said, I'm good. I said, but this is it's tough for me. I said, because watching my sister go through this, it's like, God, I believed you before from my aunt and she passed away. I need you, God. This cannot happen with my sister. And I'm telling this person, and they turn around to say, well, it's going to be all right. I had to go through watching my mom die from cancer. I really just wanted to roll my eyes and be like, are you kidding me right now? I really don't care. That's
the last thing I want to hear.
I don't care about you. And I know they meant it from an inspirational moment.
Meaning the
but it's just like, see, this why I don't talk. And this is exactly why I don't say how I feel, because when I actually say how I feel, now you want to go down the train of the Lord can do it. And I'm praying. I've been praying, I've been fasting, I've been doing all of the above. But the reality is I'm a realist, and I'm like, God don't always answer like we want him to. And people can want it. I remember when my aunt passed, she wanted to be healed. She did not want to die. Like, that was her. She wanted it, but she kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then finally, she was like, okay, I'm ready. So I know my sister, she's gonna live. She has a lot of ministry to do, a lot of stories to tell, a lot of businesses to run. She's gonna live, but it's like in those moments, I would prefer somebody to be real with me instead of going down the church route and saying, well, you gotta believe, and you gotta fast, and you gotta praise your way through it, and you gotta do this. I've been praising and running around this stage all the time. What I'm saying is, I know that he is going to do it. The reality is, in this moment, he's not fixing it. I'm still praising. I'm giving you all I can, but I'm tired as I don't know what. And I just need you to say to me, you know what? Your feelings are valid. And LaShawna, she gives me that. It's just like, Ned, what you saying is real. And I'm like, I'm not doing the church jargon, because it's like, I've been doing it for a long time, and she's still going through all of this. So it's like, hurry up, Jesus. Hurry up. I ain't trying to rush you, and I'm being impatient, but this has been years of us waiting and trying to find a solution. So it's just like, but I've learned how to just turn it on and off, because I'm used to people not knowing how to give me what I need. So it's like, it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's rewind a little bit and talk about, Jaquise mentioned that first incident when she was, in the car. You guys are, you and your roommate at the time. This is the first situation. This is the first experience that you're having, with her and her health journey. What was going on through your head?
I was nervous, but believe it or not, I kind of went into healthcare mode. Even I hadn't worked in healthcare fully at the time, but I had worked for the doctor, for that summer, so it was immediately CPR. I completely, my brain went to, hey, you gotta work. You can't think about this being your sister. Right now, it's in this situation, it's an emergency. You gotta get her back breathing. And so it's kind of like, I literally turned into the healthcare provider. And after she comes back, and I was gonna say,
so now you're sitting back after, and at some point, and you're reflecting on the situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it all happened so fast. It's like, okay, now she's back. They load her up. She's in the ambulance. It's like, okay, they're saying we need somebody to ride with us. I completely flipped from doing what I had to do to get her back responsive to now I'm all over the place. My brain it's like I'm opening the wrong door to the ambulance. It's like, this is a supply. It's like I am literally sitting here like, I can't function, because it's like, this is my little sister. And I know right now, I'm looking at the stats, and they're trash. This is usually when we say cold. And I'm like, this cannot be my reality right now. Like, this cannot be true. But then I calm back down, and honestly, Shauna is there, because Shauna is always there. We just start talking, and we're just kind of sitting, just waiting. And I call my older sister, believe it or not, I call her ex-boyfriend, because I love him. And we start talking on the phone. He shows up at the hospital, and it calmed me down. It was just like, okay, we just start talking about everything except what was happening, just to get my mind off of it, so I wouldn't go into like a whole anxiety attack. It's like, what in the world is really going on? Because this was new.
Yeah,
she was always healthy.
Yeah.
Outside of the ovary situation, she was sick, but it's like it wasn't this level of sick. So yeah, I was just kind of trying to analyze. What are our options? Where are we gonna go? What are the doctors gonna say? It's like I'm trying to come up with a plan. I'm a fixer, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay, if they say this, this is what we need to do. But what's crazy is when Jaquise was going through all of this, it was during finals. I was about to graduate from college, so I'm not only processing everything that is going on with her. I'm like, man, I gotta study for my finals. Oh my God, what if I fail? My mind is just not here. I'm trying to tell my professor, like, hey, I have personal things going on. I really don't want to talk about the whole situation because at the time, I knew that professor didn't believe in God. So I didn't want her saying anything to me that was negative with me relaying the situation to her. Her just telling me, oh, just prepare to die because I knew how she was.
What?
So it's just like she was that type of person. So it's kind of like,
goodness,
I didn't have a space that I could really explain what I was going through. But it's like, hey, life is really happening. Can I take my exam late? I wasn't able to take my exam late, so I had to just study. And if I'm honest, I didn't pass that class. And so I needed to pass that exam in order to really walk. So I walked, but I ended up having to go back to school and take a class to make up for that one. I just wasn't in headspace. I usually always show up, but it was a lot of pressure because I hated that class, and that was one of the ones I just didn't do so well with.
Yeah. There was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Do you, again, I asked your sister the same question, but do you ever ask yourself why? Why is this happening to her? Why her? Why? Why couldn't you have picked somebody else? Like, why do we have to go through this? Why?
I can honestly say I don't necessarily ask the question of why her. I ask the question of why is this taking so long? Because at the end of the day, one thing I know about my sister, I never want her to go through this, right? But she's a trooper. I don't want to see her going through it. But it's like, if I'm honest, I don't want anybody to go through that. I don't want to take it away from her for somebody else to deal with it. I don't want anybody to have to deal with it. So my thing is more so like, can we get through this already? This has been years. It's like, I feel like it's the lady with the issue of blood, 12 years. It's like, it's been forever. Can we finally get to a place where it's better for everybody's stability, my mental stability, my family, but first of all, Jaquise. But the reality is, I don't even know if I've told Jaquise this. So if she hears this is my truth. I actually prayed one day and I said, God, give it to me. I'll take it. And I'm like, if you can give her peace, I'll walk through it. That's my truth. Because it's like, it is very, very difficult and emotional sometimes just to see how she has to go through this all the time. So I'm like, if you can just give me this last phase, I'll go through it for the next year or two. You healed me. I want to still stay on this earth. Let's
make some concessions.
Listen, okay. Listen.
Here's the terms and conditions.
But I can honestly say, I'll take it. That has been my prayer. I'm like, I'll take it. I'm that type of person because I'm tired of her going through it. I literally told him that. Like, I'll take it. I'll take it. And I got a real high tolerance for pain. Real high.
But and you've had some health issues as well. So like, sometimes we'll be on the phone and you're like, I'm like, so how is watching her go through her health journey impacted your health journey?
I will say it has probably affected me more so mentally, honestly. And I feel like sometimes that affects other things. But for me, it's more so like I don't know how to just rest or not overthink. Like, so my mind is constantly going, so I can't really sleep. It's a lot because I'm kind of like, what do I have anxiety? Like, what is happening? Because I'm always concerned. Like, if I hear a pin drop,
listen,
it's like if I hear a pin drop, I'm up running.
Uh-huh.
Like, and it's like, oh Lord. But to me, it sounds like a tornado came. But it's I mean, that's not truth. It's like
it's just Jaquise who ran into the door.
No, it's a
oh.
pen. But the crazy thing is, I'll never forget this. So I was in a meeting. I literally, most embarrassing thing ever, but I was in a meeting with our D&I manager at work, Aisha, and literally I was like, oh my God. And Jaquise was on the floor. So I heard a noise and it was real that time. So it was kind of like, they probably think I'm crazy. Like, it is just like, because I do get very like, but I know. So I was like, hey, I got to call you back. But it's like, I'm not going to lie, I felt safe in that moment because I'm like, okay, I know Aisha ain't going to think I'm crazy. But it's like, there are literally times when I'm in meetings at work and Jaquise and I'll hear something and I'm trying to easily be like, okay, I'm not going to make this facial expression, but I got to go. And I'm going to hit that camera off, turn on the mute button, and I'm leaving because I'm like, okay, let me grab my phone, turn the meeting on just in case they call my name. Because I got to go make sure she's good because I have found her so many times. So I finally realized, I'm like, no, Aquanetta, we were talking about this, Jaquise, and I said, Aquanetta, you got PTSD. I do. It's like, I really saw, I understand people in the military. Like, you saw people killed, like, it's like, no, I saw people faint. I've seen too much, and it's like, I literally have PTSD.
Do you feel like you replay, like, if she's in the middle of an episode, or you just have the tendency to go there and assume, like say you're on a call and you hear something, right? You automatically think, oh my God, she just passed out, fainted on the floor. Where she could have just been like, because I know I've been on the phone sometimes.
Yeah.
And you've heard something, you're like, Jaquise! And I'm like,
yeah, because I automatically assume the worst.
Right.
And I shouldn't assume the worst, but I think the reason I'm like that too is because, I don't know if Jaquise, I know you spoke with her earlier, but there was a time where I heard a big noise. And my parents were like, oh, she's fine. But I knew, like, I'm like, and she was unresponsive. So I always replay, what if I'm being so calm, and I'm like, oh, it's nothing, and something is really happening because I've seen it too many times. I'm at the keyboard playing in church, and I'm looking at the clock like, okay, it's been 10 minutes. All right, it's been 15. All right, okay, now I gotta ease my way out of here, and she's been on the floor passed out. So it's just kind of like, for me, I don't want to assume the worst, but all at the same time, I do replay moments where it was bad. So it's like, I assume the worst, so I'm prepared mentally. CPR, whatever I gotta do. Okay, did she cut herself? Do I need to tape it up to make sure the artery doesn't bleed out? So it's like, I'm playing all of this in my head before I even go over there. Yeah, and it's
So, yeah. So you were in healthcare for a long time.
Almost 8 years.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were in healthcare, and then you made the decision. You know what? I'm getting out. Why is that? And do you think that there might be a slight I just made up a new word. A slight connection to you having to deal and live within your sister's health journey, your family's health journey in general, you having to deal with that constantly, and then it's almost kind of like, is there even a disconnect? Like, you know how, like, we go to work and then we commute, we come home, and then work is done. We left work over there. But for you were dealing with the stress and the pressure of healthcare at work, working these crazy hours. Props out to all my hair care individuals, providers that are out there listening to this. And then you turn around, because now we don't commute anymore. 5 seconds, now you're dealing with healthcare at home. So was that too much?
I'm going to say, I don't really think it was too much. What I think makes it difficult is me not doing what I need to do to shut down and shut off is what makes it a lot. Because I was really, like, I was healthy, you know what I mean, with even in working in healthcare. I had an outlet because I traveled and I sang. So that was like my outlet, you know, but it's kind of like, well, when we had to put that to the side because of health issues and my aunt passing away and several other issues, one of my major outlets really is singing. And because I still do it, but I don't do it to the magnitude that I used to. So because it's like that is not there, I feel like that's what's made it challenging.
Okay.
Because I don't have that, but
To balance it
out. But then sometimes I just have to be intentional about, hey, no, shut it off. Like, no more work, no more fixing it. You need to shut it all off and just go be.
And
But
you know what? Healthcare or not, whatever field you're in,
Yeah.
you have a problem.
I do.
You do.
I do.
You have a problem.
I admit that. I
Yes,
am one. I
you
will
do.
not. I will not lie because I am like I'm going to give it 1,000%. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm gonna give it 1,010. And when I can't, I feel so bad or so guilty, and it's like so I would rather move away. And if I'm honest, like I stepped away from the praise team because I was giving it all I had, but I knew I wasn't giving it
Up to your standards.
up to my standard.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I really am giving you everything I got. But right now, because I in this space, I can't give it 1,010%. I'd rather walk away. Because I have so much other things that I'm trying to prioritize and focus on. I'm not gonna do it. Like that's how I work. I have extremely hard work ethic. So it's like no.
That leading boy.
But listen,
Like-
but it is. I'm working through it. I can honestly say like just it's okay to be like you don't have to have it perfect. It's good is that's okay. But it's like, no, I need it to be great. It's got to be excellent. So that's pressure I put on
Even
myself.
when she tries to just be great, she has to be excellent.
It does bleed over into like, I literally had to change a bandage for Jaquise. It's like, but in Jaquise, let me tell y'all something.
Uh-oh.
Let me tell y'all something about Jaquise. At the end of
It's
the
like
day,
she's not here.
I know, right? Listen, this is the thing about Jaquise. Jaquise appreciates, and I know she does, like every single thing I do, but Jaquise is also meticulous.
I know she is.
So, if I put the bandage on, not only do I want it on right, it's got to be symmetrical.
Now you guys are fighting over
And
bandages.
it's got to be symmetrical. Like, I'm just that person. And it's like, girl, just cover the wound and make sure it's clean. I'm like, no, it's got to be in a perfectly little square shape. And if it's not right, Jaquise's going to be like, Nick. The reality
Can I
is,
give you some feedback?
and I take it. She'll be like, bruh, this bandage, that's a little cricket. And I'm like, you're right. So guess what I'm gonna do? We're gonna take it off and we're gonna do it again to make sure it's right. But I will say this, my healthcare people, they will agree. If it's not bandaged right, it's gonna come off. So it gotta be right. It's gotta be right.
You can tell yourself that if you want to.
I mean, it does. It has to be right because Jaquise was an example. It came off when it went right, so I had to redo it. So it's right. It's got to be right.
Gosh.
It's just one of those things. But
Okay,
Just saying.
so doing all that, being a caretaker and a help. There's two things that I want to get into real quick. One is I want you to tell people, listen, this is not for the faint of heart. Okay? This is what I go through being a caregiver to someone.
yeah.
So I want you to talk a little bit about that. And then after that, I want you to talk about how do you feel like it has impacted your personal life?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So, I will say, like, to anyone out there, like, I feel like sometimes I really make it look easy.
I think you do.
I make it look really
Yes.
easy, but being a healthcare provider, it's as you said, it's not for the faint of heart. There are many sleepless nights, just because you never know when someone is going to need you, and sometimes you don't really get to enjoy life to the fullest just because you've made a promise to someone that I'm going to be here through thick and thin. So while other people may be able to go out to dinner, they may be able to go out of town, it's like, I can't necessarily do that because while this person is going through this situation, I've made a vow that I'm going to be here.
Or you can't, you have to do all of these extra stuff.
Yeah.
To make sure, okay, I go out of town, I do this, but I got to come back this day.
Yeah.
And I got to be on this flight. And
right.
I got to make sure I'm back for this.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, well, your schedule, you're going to plan for your schedule, but you also have to plan for the other person's schedule. So it's like you really have to do a lot of adjusting. And sometimes, like, people don't necessarily understand. And I'll be honest, like, I worry a lot. Like, even as it relates to ministry, sometimes it's like, I may post, oh man, I'm recording the podcast with Harli, but it's like, but I couldn't do this. I had to do this because, okay, Jaquis's schedule allowed me to record the podcast, and I want to be dedicated to something else. But it's just like, I had to give this up in order for because I know Jaquis's schedule. Okay, she got this tonight at 5 p.m. So we can do something together in the morning. But I have to make so many adjustments, and all the time I can't explain it. I can't tell you, like, it's just. That's just how my life works right now. It's a lot of sacrificing, and you have to be selfless. But honestly, you got to be mentally tough. You have to be mentally tough, and let me tell you something.
So how do you stay that way? I mean, yes, we have the faith, and we lean on it, right? But it's like, but we're also human. Hello.
I am. For me, I can say, like, my motivation, it really is like, I know for me. After this season, and specifically I'm going to talk about with my sister, there are things that we're going to do together. So that's one of the motivating factors. It's like, this is only for a moment. Like, the challenging part is here, but the good part is on the other side. So it's just like, me and my sister have business adventures that we do together, and believe it or not, we work hand in hand. Like, literally, it's just like, she's, we like yin and yang. Like, she literally, with the cake business, she's packing all the cupcakes. Like, even if she doesn't feel well, Jaquise will lay in the bed, print all the labels, put the labels on the boxes. Like, she does that for me. And when it comes to her line, I'm packing the t-shirts. We're there.
Where's my t-shirt?
If she's styling somebody, we got you. Okay. We got you. Like, if she's styling somebody, she's not feeling well, I'm putting on their shoes, doing their makeup. Like, I'm like, and then there's also something else that we have not released yet. It's coming out really soon. But it's us.
How you just gonna tease?
It's us together. So it's like while it's tough right now, I know that on the other side of this is something so much bigger. And I'm big on leaving a legacy and changing the trajectory of my family. So it's like, my daddy has done a lot with, like, changing things in the bloodline. And not just my dad, my aunt, a lot of people, my uncles, like, they've done things. But it's like, I know that there's a gift and a calling on my life that is going to elevate my bloodline even more. So it's like, I have to go hard. I have to push. I got to get through it, because on the other side of this is something so beautiful. And honestly, one of my motivating factors is I've always wanted to be, like, I want to fund people's careers. Secretly, like, I'm big on, like, I am a private humanitarian. So I know I have to work and I got to push, because in order to do what's in my dream books, I got to get through this season. And I can't give up. If I give up, then I'm done, But it's getting through this season, knowing what's on the other side.
Inside the Bubble is always looking for sponsors.
Yeah.
Just won't put it out there. But
on the other side. And honestly, like, my family is a huge motivating factor, because they're always the most supportive, so proud. Like, so when they see, it's just like, I'm going to get through this so y'all can see it while you're living. So that really does motivate me, like, my family and being able to want to give to other people. It keeps me going.
So what about that personal life?
Who child?
It's like, we just had to bring that up.
Right. Listen, hey sir, if you're out there, I'm here.
Public PSA, public service announcement.
But no, like, I will say this, believe it or not, I will make time for that. It's just that it has to be a person who's worth the time and investment.
Absolutely.
And I'm open to it. It's just, I haven't. He hadn't shown up yet.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's okay, but I'll push pause and I'll ask for help. When he shows up. But no, I'm at a space now. Like, I'm ready. It's just, I'm just waiting.
Okay.
Just waiting.
All right. Hey, boo, if you out there, like we said,
if you out there,
listen, because I want to be invited over to y'all place. You know what I'm saying? Some Super Bowl snacks.
Listen, you can come over and listen. I'm gonna make the snacks. The snacks gonna be lit.
You know they are. You know that. Just make sure she does that fried chicken.
Fried chicken?
Yes, fried chicken.
Got it.
That's my request.
I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, he gonna have fried chicken. Whatever you want, babe. It's here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to my room. You and your homeboys, y'all be good. You good. But I'm ready. He's just not here yet.
Do you felt like you put it on the back burner before because of everything that was going on?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't have time. I mean, how was it gonna have time?
Halfway.
Even with the career, you know, I was very driven on. Man, I gotta get to the money, or we gotta travel, we gotta do this music, But that wasn't a priority for me. But now it's kind of like, girl, if you had somebody who could just help, it would be so much. It would take some of the load off. So I admit it wasn't a priority, but now I'm like, all right, Jesus, yesterday. I don't want to have to pay all the bills no more. I don't.
It's old.
It's old. The super independent, like I got it. All the women, independent, throw your hands up. Listen, I'm throwing my hands down because I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So you have a few ventures coming up. Can you tell us about some of these ventures? I mean, if it's a secret, we understand. But tell us.
So yes,
give us the inside scoop.
I actually do have a few ventures coming up. I am actually in the process of rebranding my online cake business. It is called Cake Attraction. So I am doing a little bit of work on the back end for that. Okay. So there's going to be something new coming out that everybody's going to love. And it's going to actually intertwine and combine what I've always loved, which is music and sweets. So there's a huge thing.
The cupcakes are going to be singing?
Listen, you never know. You never know. The cupcakes may sing. The cupcakes may help people sing. You just never know.
Okay.
But it's something really creative, really good coming out with that. And also, there is something else coming out, with my sister. So, yeah, it's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Let's just say Jaquise is one of the dopest songwriters out here, so it's gonna be good. My cousin is one of the dopest producers out here. Shout out to Deontay. And then also one of my friends, Ramon Gaskin. He's absolutely amazing. Shout out to Ramon. So just know it's something coming out, but it's kind of a way for us to put our creative hats and, make me be creative, the singing thing come back, along with doing sweet. So it's really dope.
Okay.
And you'll like it on Instagram.
Where?
Sneak peek. Let's just say commercials. Let's just say,
Okay. All right. Okay. So on that note, that little nugget, so glad to have you stop by again on the show. It's always so much fun and so amazing to hear your story and how you continue to show us how to live in excellence. Because that's what you're doing. You are living in excellence. So you are showing people that, you know what, you can do this too. You have everything in you to do it. You can do it too. And so thank you for being that role model for us. Because, listen, we are here in these streets and we're just like, no. But to know that I have a friend that I can turn to and say, okay, so Aquanetta said I should do it this way. I guess I can be leading too.
Stop it.
Let me try to lead with my life. Let me be great. Okay?
But here's the thing. I will say this, and I appreciate you. I really do. Like, I'm always going to be a person. I'm authentic and I'm honest. So if I'm going to do something in excellence, what I'm going to give you is going to be excellent.
Absolutely.
Like, that's my motto. I'm like, no, if you challenge other people to be excellent, you got to be excellent. So.
Perfect. I love it. So insiders, that is our show for today. So make sure you tune in. Make sure to go back and listen to the initial episode when we had the sisters on Growing Up Church. And then also go back and listen to Jaquise's episode. Don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but we'll figure that out. And then, of course, tune in. You're already tuning into this one, obviously. But thank you so much. Make sure to follow us on Inside the Bubble HG on Instagram and Facebook. We're dropping new episodes every Monday. I've really, truly been blessed and fortunate to be able to be consistent with the podcast. And that is something that I am very thankful for. And to the listeners for hanging in there with me. As you can see, we're getting there, y'all. We upgrading some equipment. We starting to sound better. So thank you for hanging in there with me on this journey. And like I always say, there's purpose in your story. I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.